Hello everybody, Mr. Akins here and welcome to What's on the Comic Rack. So where you been, Mr. Akins?
We will ask the questions.
Well, I had the opportunity for the past over 4 weeks to visit a number of my foreign exchange students over in Europe. And I did get a chance to do a little bit of comic book hunting while I was there. So in this video, I'm going to show you the comics I picked up and a little bit of a video of the shop I visited in Rotterdam, the Netherlands. So let's get to looking at those comics, Jambo style. So we're going to start off with some Dutch versions of some old Spider-Man comics. We're starting in the 1960s. These are the oldest ones I picked up. You're probably wondering, why are you picking up Spider-Man comics? Well, I was actually looking for some that other people may be interested in, and Spider-Man was on the list of something other people may be interested in. And so I started picking these up once he started showing me some Dutch versions of comics. All the comics I was looking through in the video were English comics, and as I was looking through those comics, I said, "Do you have any foreign language comics?" And he said, "Yeah, I've got these over there." There were a pile of unbagged, unboarded comic books. Now these weren't on the top. I'm going to get to the ones that were on the top. In fact, the very first comic was an actual odd comic. These, however, were in the stack, sort of down at the bottom. I knew once I saw these, I wanted these. Now these were printed by Hip Comics. Hip Comics had the rights to publish Marvel characters in the Netherlands, and there were a total of 169 issues printed, and different heroes appeared in different issues. These issues I picked up had Spider-Man in it. Now the numbering system on this, the 19 is like the series number from Hip Comics, and then the next digits are which numbers they were. So this one is number 64, which is a reprint of The Amazing Spider-Man number 55. Now all these are in Dutch, down here and down here, and instead of The Amazing Spider-Man, it says The Wonderful Spider-Man. Another thing that's a little bit different in the trade dress up here is this version has these webs. American version doesn't have that. For this comic, the coloring is a little bit weird. Doc Ock is a little green in this one. Picked up this one. Once I saw this cover, I knew I had to get it. Love this John Romita Sr. cover with Medusa on it. It's absolutely fabulous. This is the Dutch version of the Amazing Spider-Man number 62. This one was published in 1968. Now, like I said, all these comics were unbagged and unboarded. They were in a stack, and as I was looking through them, and then once I got here and I started to put these in bags and boards, I'm figuring this is a Silver Age. And it is a Silver Age book, meaning it takes a Silver Age bag, but as you can see, it doesn't completely fill up a Silver Age bag. It has the width of a Silver Age comic, but not the length of it. It's a little bit shorter. Another thing about these comics is the interior is in black and white, and there is no lettering, meaning the dialogue is, they've typed, it's a typeset. Nobody actually drew the dialogue or lettered the dialogue in these comic books. And the other one I picked up was the Dutch version of the Amazing Spider-Man number 84. Now this one was published in 1971. So like I said, when I got there, I started looking through his long boxes, and this was a very small shop. In fact, it's advertised as the smallest shop in the Benelux. Benelux is a region in Europe that contains the Netherlands, Belgium, and Luxembourg. And as I'm looking through these, I'm seeing all English or American comics, and I asked him, hey, do you have any foreign language comics? He said, yeah, look at this stack over here on the floor. So right at the top of this stack on the floor was this, a Dutch version of X-Men number 266. So I picked this one up and I said, yeah, I want this one. Now all these I bought, including the other Spider-Man comics. I picked every one of those up, or all these comics up, for less than 50 euros. I think some of them he sold me for 3 to 5 euros a piece, and I think this one was 5 euros. The very next comic book under the stack was this one right here, first appearance of Jubilee. So I started going through and I was like, oh, I'm probably going to find a lot more. I did find a lot more X-Men comics. Of course, I had to pick this one up since it was a John Byrne comic. And last but not least, I picked this one up as well. So those were the X-Men comics that I picked up while I was there. Again, these comics, as opposed to Spider-Man comics, are in full color. The Spider-Man comics were in black, the interiors were in black and white, and he said it was kind of hard to find some of those hip comics that haven't been colored in. These, although they're extremely dirty, they're in really great shape, and it's kind of neat to have a souvenir from a vacation that is a comic book from the area that you actually went to. So the Spider-Man comics and the X-Men comics, kind of picked up those as souvenirs for other people. These comics I picked up for me. I said, hey, if I want to keep something in my collection, I want it to have some significance, and for me, I'm going to pick up some Dutch versions of the Fantastic Four. Now, another thing about these Dutch versions, especially from Junior Press, they contain more than one comic. Like, that's the reason it says a Fantastic Four special. So some of these contain more than one story. You can see they're pretty thick comics. So I was able to pick up The Trial of Reed Richards. I was able to pick up this one. I think each one of these I picked up was around 2 euros, I think. And then this 25th anniversary Fantastic Four. So those were the comics I was able to pick up at the smallest comic shop in the Benelux. And those were the comic books I was able to pick up in Rotterdam, the Netherlands. Now I was there visiting one of my former foreign exchange students. He's the only one that was into comic books, and I didn't pick these up at the comic book shop. He actually had these as a gift for me. He had this one right here. This is the Spectacular Spider-Man Dutch version. Another Spectacular Spider-Man, a Dutch version, and an Avengers special from Junior Press. I'm going to have some future videos on the other two places I did some comic book shopping. I did some comic book shopping in Dresden, Germany, and in Prague, the Czech Republic. So stay tuned for those videos. And until next time, we'll see you around the comic rack.